What's really good? It's your boy Trouble T Roy. Don't Get Hit Boxing Talk, and we back with another one. And it goes. So, real quick, I just wanted to kind of, get on this whole situation with Teofemo Lopez Jr. and his, his shenanigans, I want to call them. So I guess it's just been put out there that Boots Ennis has decided not to go through with the Teofemo Lopez Jr. fight. Me personally, I don't blame him. What I try to do, I try to be as objective with every fighter as I can possibly. And with that being said, my only question, I asked this already on Twitter, I'm not understanding what this whole thing is where whenever Teofemo says somebody's name or so-and-so calls somebody out, that person that he's calling out is also supposed to drop everything that he's doing to go and try to make a fight with Teofemo. Otherwise, if they don't, then they're ducking. I don't understand that because it seems like the double standards just always seems to come out. Why is it that a guy in Boots Ennis, Jaron Boots Ennis, who just unified at 147, all of a sudden, now he had plans, and this was before Teofemo started calling him out. Boots Ennis was already planning on either unifying the division, going undisputed at 147, and or going up to 154 to campaign. Now, and then all of a sudden, after that's all said and done, like this is what he's going to do, suddenly Teofemo comes out calling Boots Ennis out. But I'm just not understanding why people are putting pressure on Teofemo Lopez Jr. to pressure the guys at 140 in his own weight class. It's like, yeah, he said he would go up to 147 to fight Boots Ennis, but Boots Ennis already had his own plans at 147. So why should he have to drop all his plans to unify the whole division? Or if not that, go up to 154 and campaign, like he was saying before all this came up. I just find it funny that people are acting like this shit's okay, where Lopez could sit here and call out people and people are just supposed to stop whatever they had going on, whatever they had planned. They're supposed to stop and, follow suit what Teofemo wants. It doesn't make sense. He did the same thing with Crawford, knowing Crawford was going up to 154 already. He was already at 154 when Teofemo started really going at him. So, which didn't make sense. And then after Crawford has this match against Madrimov, he makes the fight with Canelo. The fight is already basically in stone, and Teofemo talk about, yeah, I want that fight. At least until Crawford came up to him in person, rolled up on him in person, and all of a sudden, all that talk went out the window. How funny is that? I know people are going to just coincidentally forget about that, but hey, what did he say? Oh, it was just for promotion. But I'll spar you, though. What happened to the fight then? What happened to you really wanted to fight him when he's in your face? All of a sudden, you don't want to fight. But that's what I'm saying. Why is it that he seems to have this thing where he's starting to do, or he's kind of been doing it, where he's calling names. He likes to call names, call out fighters. Well, at least so far, these two. I feel like there's been maybe a couple more, but I can't quite remember. But I want to call out fighters that already have plans. It just doesn't make sense. and you don't want to do nothing in your own division. Okay, I guess if you really want to come to 147, Devin ain't got nothing going on yet at 147. You make that fight. I don't know if Devin really wants it, because who knows what Devin wants to do at this point, because it don't seem like he want to fight nobody. He just, after his last fight, he definitely can't be trusted. But even still, I mean, go to 147 and get you a belt or something. What, ain't that what they made Crawford do? Nobody wanted to fight Crawford until Thurman said, or no, Spence said get a belt, and then he got a belt, and they still didn't want to fight him. Fucking Tito ain't even got a belt, nor has a fight at 147 yet, but yeah, he's supposed to skip in front of the other people that's been working their ass off at 147 to get put in a position for a belt. You know? It's like, I don't take nothing away from what Teofemo has accomplished at all. He's done what he's done. That's cool. But I don't see where that puts him in the front seat at any division that he wants to fight at against any top guy that he wants to fight at without having to put in some kind of work. Because Crawford had to put in work. You know? You remember when both Boots and Virgil Ortiz had an opportunity to fight Crawford, they both stepped down from the WBO rankings or whatever and decided to go after Earl Spence. Well, at least I know that's what Boots did. I can't remember what Virgil did, but he had an opportunity to fight. They both had an opportunity to fight, or at least chase a fight after Terrence Crawford at 147, and both of them basically turned down the fights. So, you know, it's just the standards is all over the place in boxing right now, where some people, it's okay for some people to do this, but when somebody else does it, it's a problem, or vice versa. It's a problem when this person does it, but oh, it's okay for this guy because he's my favorite fighter. It's like, I don't play that shit. I try to be objective. I put the same pressure on every fighter as I can. I don't care how much I support the fighter, how much I like the fighter, or whatever the case is. You still gonna get the same standards, because if you ain't doing what I feel is up to the standards in the boxing world, then you need to be called out. You know what I'm saying? And T already does enough bullshit outside the ring for it to not be put to notice what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those fighters I wish he would like kind of just be quiet. Him and Ryan Garcia, two of the main guys, and Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson. You know? Just talk so fucking much. And then, you know, perform like they perform. One thing I can't appreciate about Boots Ennis is that he doesn't really talk much. And really, if it ain't got nothing to do with boxing, he's not really talking. Which is cool with me. You know, he ain't out here calling people names, out their names, and doing all kind of weird shit. You know, talking shit about fighters. And, you know, if it's talking shit about fighters, just talk about what's going to happen when they get in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't take away Boots was talking a little bit with Crawford, but you can tell he wasn't serious, but at least he wasn't making things personal. You know what I'm saying? As in where you got other fighters who want to make shit personal and start talking shit, calling them bitches and, you know, bitch ass niggas and all this other weird shit that these niggas like to do. And it's like, but y'all ain't talking about no kind of boxing because y'all know y'all ain't gonna fight each other anytime soon. You know, notice Tank Davis is quiet now. He ain't talking about nobody because look what he just went through. He just had the scare of his life. You know what I'm saying? The standards need to be put the same for everybody at the end of the day when it comes to this boxing shit, because that shit is ridiculous. Why is this the biggest talk of the week, and people are really sitting here calling Boots a fucking duck when he already had made his own plans before Teofemo was even in the picture? He was already set to fight late at the end of the year. If he was gonna fight, it was gonna be for some kind of unification, or at least a build up to one. But then I'll say Teofemo comes into play, and then, oh well, we could try to make something for like September. It's like, but that wasn't the plans though. Even Eddie Hearn said it himself. That wasn't the plans, but if that's the only thing we have, then we might go ahead and pursue it. Now it didn't work out clearly, so guess what? They must be sticking to the plans that were around before Teofemo was even coming out of anybody's like vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I just find that weird. You got all these people, Boots is ducking. Devin Haney's had plenty of opportunities to fight Teofemo, and for some reason, I don't know if it's on Devin's part or if it's on Teofemo's part. I don't know who kept the fight from happening, but they had plenty of times, plenty of situations, plenty of opportunities to fight each other, and they just didn't fight. So that's between them. Don't bring Boots up into this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just so stupid. And most of these weird ass fans, oh yeah, Boots is ducking. Boots is a unified champion at 147. Teofemo's not. Boots said he wants to unify if he can. Teofemo doesn't have a belt, so there ain't gonna be no unification fight if they fight. It ain't about money, obviously. Everybody wants to make it about money. Just because your favorite little American fighters always fighting and talk about how much money they get, how many M's they get, and all that shit, doesn't mean that every fighter cares that much about money. Maybe these fighters maybe there's some fighters in the game that actually really just care about legacy. You know? That's all I'm saying. Oh, he turned down this much money when he could have. It's like, yeah, that's cool. If we want to talk about that, and ain't nobody talk about how, Manny Pacquiao asked for $40 million to fight Crawford, but was willing to take, 5 to 10 to fight Errol Spence. Since you want to bring him money, let's talk about that. We ain't going to call that a duck? Oh, no, Crawford, he wasn't really shit anyways. You ain't following him. Well, he had an opportunity to get a fight against Pacquiao, and Pacquiao priced himself out. So what are we really talking about? We want to talk about ducks. It's like, yeah, that's in the past, but people ain't going to talk about that shit. It's little things that people like to, magically forget. Conveniently forget. Conveniently, you have bad memory when it comes to certain fighters that you don't like. But when it's your favorite fighter, oh, yeah, man, everybody ducking him. Everybody. His mama ducking him. It's like his dog ducking him. His motherfucking dinner. It's like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. So... But anyways, that's just me. I said I was going to make this quick. What y'all think about it? I really don't care. Nah, I do care, but if you just on that bullshit with everybody's just ducking Teofemo, then you can go ahead and say what you want. You ain't going to change my mind. Nobody ever does. I feel the way I feel for a reason. I always have some kind of reasoning to back up what I'm saying. I don't say shit just because it sounds good. I actually try to at least provide, context and some kind of facts behind what I'm saying. Most people just gonna go, oh yeah, you're just a Teofemo hater. No, I'm not. I don't like him, but I ain't a hater as far as I'll watch his fights. He's a fun dude to watch fight most of the time, But as far as everything else, I don't give a fuck about. I don't know these fighters, so I ain't got no fucking personal connection to them. I'm a fan of boxing. My thing is I want to see the best fight the best, and that's it. But it needs to make sense at the same time. So I don't consider neither Teofemo or Boots Ennis the best. I mean, they both definitely have, potential because they're both still young. But a lot of people give really both fighters more credit than they really deserve, or more accolades than they ever really earned. I mean, people are still calling Teofemo undisputed at 135 when he never won the WBC World Championship belt. He had the franchise. Once again, the franchise was never meant to be a transferable belt, which means that you couldn't lose it until all of a sudden bullshit ass fucking Mauricio changed the rules last minute. That's why you can't trust his ass. You can't trust the WBC because they just make up their own rules as they go, just to fit. I don't know if it's favorism or they know the money's gonna come to them if they do it this way. Because it's all about money at the end of the day when it comes to these organizations. So that's another thing. But Teofemo was never undisputed. Definitely was never two-time. He was two-time lineal, which is great. He earned that. But let's keep it there. I don't know why people gotta lie about the dude. It's weird. You're lying for another dude. That's just like, come on, man. Let that man be great in the way he is great. Let's not try to, throw dubs on the shit that never happened. Like, geez. Yes, Devin Haney was a shitty fucking WBC. He was an email champion. Yes, he was. But guess what? He never fought. Teofemo never fought him for that WBC belt. So he was only a unified champion with 3 belts out of the 4 that he needed to be. And that's just that. Let it go. In the books, that's what it's going to be. I don't care what ESPN said with their dumbass commentary and their dumbass fucking labels they put on the TV when you're watching the fights. It don't matter. In the books, Teofemo was never undisputed. Let it go. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe. Or hit the dislike button. I don't give a fuck. It's your boy Trouble T Roy. Hit don't get hit, boxing talk, and we gone with it. All right, y'all. Peace.